Hey guys, Northeast Survival and Preparedness. Want to give you a nice little budget item you can throw into your survival kit or bug out bag, or even just, bring it backpacking, camping, or hiking. This is the Aquamira Water Filter Bottle. And it's about $22. You can pick these up for anywhere from like 22 to 25. The filter, a replacement filter, is about 12 bucks, but it does come with one filter, and it's good for about 100 gallons. I've actually tried a couple of these throughout the years. Some of those Catadine ones and a few other different brands, and this one's actually the one I'm happiest with, which is why I'm doing a full review on it. Let's just say before we get into this, it doesn't filter viruses and bacteria. It only does big things like crypto and Giardia. So if you do need protection from viruses and bacteria, you're going to have to treat the water chemically. Now where I took this, just up in the Adirondacks in New York, water temperatures rarely get below 55, or rarely get above 55 I should say. So viruses and bacteria are pretty rare. So let's take a look at this. We have, of course, a normal squeeze bottle. Little plastic loop there to catch it down your belt or backpack. Of course, the plastic is Bpa free. It's got a cap, which is actually really good for keeping the bite valve clean. And when you open this puppy up, you can see the filter system here. It's a filter on top design, which I do like. Some of the other bottles I've worked with in the past have the filter on the bottom, and it makes it very difficult to use them at times because you can only use them straight up. Whereas this one, you can pull off this little straw and turn the bottle upside down and filter it. So it's kind of a neat little option. And plus, if you are trying to drink water out of, say, an unusual place in a survival situation, like cracks between rocks or little tiny mud puddles, you can actually put this right down into the water and drink directly, as opposed to some of the other filter bottles which have that filter on the bottom, which will kind of limit where you can squeeze this into. So let's put this back together. We'll talk about the numbers. The bottle holds 25 ounces. However, with the filter in place, you're only going to fit about 21 ounces in the bottle. I measured the flow rate. I basically just took this and squeezed the water into my Nalgene and timed it. And what I found was I could squeeze about 8 fluid ounces every minute. So essentially, you can empty this entire bottle in about 3.5 minutes. So it's a very good flow rate for a filter bottle. It's actually considerably faster than some of the other ones I've dealt with. Like I said, you can drink from the bottle directly by sucking on the bite valve and squeezing the bottle, or you can transfer water from this into another bottle just by pinching the valve at the top of your fingers and squeezing the bottle. And which I did do that quite a bit. Some of those, I just got back last week from backpacking up in the Adirondacks, and I did it was like 23 miles over 4 days. And so what I did was, on some of the harder days, I squeezed a Nalgene's worth of water into my Nalgene using this filter. That way I didn't have to spend time and fuel boiling a bunch of water for my day travels, because out in the woods, you never know when you're going to run into another stream. So you do have that capability to filter into another bottle, and it is cool because if you take that straw out, you can tip it upside down and filter it, or just squeeze it right side up. You can do it either way. So a little more versatility than a lot of the other filters on the market. Of course, the big downfall, like I said, is it does not treat viruses and bacteria. Here in New York, this is completely sufficient in the Adirondacks for me. I never treat chemically. I only use a filter of this type. Not the case in the rest of the world. A lot of the world, the water is warm enough for virus and bacteria to thrive, so you may have to treat chemically to be safe. So once again, I just wanted to reiterate that this is not a complete filter for most of the world, but in colder environments, this is actually quite sufficient. It will cut down on parasites like Giardia and crypto. It says it eliminates 99.9%, which for me is good enough because, you know, generally I try and only drink from good clean water sources. However, during this trip, there was a couple times I got desperate and I had to drink from some pretty muddy, murky, nasty water. And this does a great job of removing odor and sediment. When I filtered it into the Nalgene and was able to look at how clear the water was, very clear, great taste to it, you know, very good. Literally maintenance on this thing is nothing. When you first get it, you're going to have to squeeze some of the carbon out of the filter. So you're definitely going to want to squeeze it into a bottle or your sink or whatever for a good, you know, 10-20 ounces just to get that carbon out. Not that it would hurt you to drink that charcoal, but it's good to get it out ahead of time in the field. You generally, at the end of a trip, are going to want to clean that bottle because remember, you've got contaminated water in that squeeze bottle. So you're going to want to clean that squeeze bottle with something that will sanitize it. And then, of course, let your filter and straw and top dry. Now, the filter is treated so that it's not supposed to develop mold or fungus inside, but you know, long term, I've had these water filter bottles develop mold in them, so it's a good idea to kind of, you know, change these things a little more often than recommended. It says 100 gallons of water. I would probably change this after like 75, maybe even 50, depending on how often you use it. Something like this for me, with the amount I use a filter bottle, you know, with backpacking and hiking and hunting, something like this will get replaced probably twice a year for me in my level of use. So don't take something like this and put that filter away wet and throw it in your basement. You will get mold. Even though it says it's treated for it, you know, it's really something you got to be careful of. And not that I've had an issue with this particular brand, but just from historically I've had issues with filter bottles. No problems with this being, you know, quality-wise, it worked great. I used this for 4 days. It was my sole means for filtering water. Great experience with it. I found that the flow rate was perfect. It, you know, it ran good. It never clogged up. Even when I put this through some really murky, nasty water, it, you know, filtered very good. I had no issues. I do like that the top has this cap on it. So when you are filtering the water, if you set this down on the ground, show you for example, you know, you are filtering and you're trying to get down into a little stream or something, you set this down, that bit valve is protected from any uncontaminated water. So if you drop that, you do have a little bit of protection for it, which I do like. That cap isn't really, you know, the greatest. It pops up kind of easy. I wish I had a little more attention to it, but for a $25 item, you know, what do you expect? The bit valve is replaceable as well. I've seen those online, so overall, I mean, great little system, and for the $20-something, guys, you know, you can actually very easily put one of these in your bug out bag, your car, put it in the trunk of your car, or, you know, like I do, just use it for everything, you know, guys. This is something that I will bring backpacking, hiking, camping. I don't like carrying a lot of water weight with me, so if I go on a long day hike, this goes with me. If I go hunting, you know, and I'm going to be out walking, you know, maybe a couple miles in the woods, this is something that goes with me. I don't like packing in a ton of water. It seems like excess weight. So cool item, really cheap, and from experience, guys, I think I've owned 4 of these filter bottles so far. This one is my favorite. And just to reiterate, you know, it's because the flow rates are the best of any of them I've ever owned, and it does allow you to tip the bottle upside down by taking that straw out. So that's a big plus for me as well. It's a Bpa Free Plastic, if I didn't mention. Overall, you know, inexpensive, but just as good a quality as those Catadine, I don't know how they're pronounced, those ones. I've had those and been unhappy. I've had that Outback one and was unhappy with that. This is really what I feel is the best one on the market. So hope you guys enjoyed.